Are we alive?
It just takes a couple of minutes for it to warm up.
Hey Gladys, are we alive?
Here we go. Yep, we're live.
Woo!
Okay, hold on. Just need to mute the tab. There we go.
Right?
Hello, everyone. Just give me 2 seconds here, and I'll have everything all set up.
Come on, YouTube. There we go.
Just making a couple like little.
The home
Discord
stretch,
announcement. Yep.
Well, I just hope that we're not just reaching to that conclusion.
Don't worry. There's gonna be more added on later. Beautiful. Okay, hello everyone. Back again for our weekly streams. And as you can tell on the menu, look at that! We've only got one teeny tiny little pizza slice left to go before we're finished the main career until the end of the month.
Pizza.
Yeah, and of course, join me on this little party here is, of course, always my washing partner in crime, the eccentric Mr. Chaos.
Who seems to be unaffected by gravity for some reason.
I know, it's a very unique talent and ability in the power washing business.
And our man of the pop culture news and facts, the always fearsome, the Linkzilla.
Hi everybody, my special power is that I can remain visible at all times to the naked eye.
That's not true. That's not true. I can't see you right now.
Exactly.
Yeah, and of course, the last time we took care of it, we cleaned up a statue while everyone's panicking over a volcano, but thankfully it was stopped. As soon as I finished... Yep. Yeah, for some reason, after cleaning up the statue, it activated and calmed down Mount Rushless. And apparently Harper seems to be happy with it. Because he says, thank you so much for your help with the statue. We are in awe. We're taken aback by the statue itself, let alone that beam of light that it fired at the volcano. So much to discover about these people. It's like, who on earth were they? All looks pretty fishy-wishy.
We must continue to study this ancient statue to discover this ancient civilization's science. Their delicious, magical science.
Yeah, and of course, this won't be the end of course, PowerWash Simulator, because first, we still also have some, like, other bonus jobs. We have 5 others to take care of later. One of which I'm definitely looking forward to, the most, hint hint.
How much you want to bet that the mayor is eventually going to come crawling back?
And then, of course, the wonderful developers here is going to be putting out the Muckingham Files, a new chapter in the story on August 31st. Yay! So yeah, I'm definitely updating by the time that comes down. Not to mention whatever is also that other DLC that's going to be happening between now and the Warhammer 40k stuff that's also going to be released, like, later in the year cycle. I don't know. Anyways, first of all, we got a stunt plane to clean from Jean-Claude Flambeau, Highfalutin Aerodrome. My mom always told me, never trust a man with a unique mustache, so why did I accept the job from an absolute unit with a top lip like an angry beaver? Truth is, the stunt work has dropped off, and I take work where I can. We were doing some kind of revenge mission egg drop on this temple out in the middle of nowhere.
The whole thing went terribly wrong.
Yeah, I have a feeling the mayor realized what was going on and asked this guy to drop eggs. To be fair, it would have been fine had the client not insisted that we dive low so he could get the last shot in himself. and we overtook all the eggs on the way down. Multiple Emperor bird strikes to the engine later, and it's a miracle we made it down safely at his airport, albeit with eggs on our faces.
Wah, wah, wah.
Mr. Mayor, this is what happens when you start ticking off the wrong people for your own greed.
When you engage in extreme warfare.
There's the puns!
I mean, after all, this is why we have a separation between church and state. You gotta keep those two apart, or they'll be going at each other's throats.
A real scramble, that's for sure.
Man.
There we go.
These guys are just taking a yoke, aren't you?
Holy mother of pearl. Yeah, looks like they really... Looks like the yoke was really on them. Jeez. Anyway. Let's get Chaos in here. Anyways, recently I've actually done a little something in the background. I've gotten back into a bit of an arts and crafts kick.
Tell us more.
Yeah, recently I did... Give me a second as I get Chaos. So, to remove the blue screen of annoyance.
Yep.
There we go. I did something called diamond art.
Diamond art?
Yeah, basically you get like this kit where there's like a patterned canvas and you stick diamond pieces on them. Oh, there you are, Chaos.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay, Calvin's talking. Okay, so that was weird. Yeah, what's up?
What's weird about it, Calvin?
Just as I was getting the heck off of Rushless, there was this huge flash of light. Thought I was a goner for sure, but no, the volcano just instantly calmed.
He was on the volcano.
Yeah, well, he was there warning us, telling us to get the heck out of Dodge. She's starting to gurgle again now, but whatever it was should hopefully buy us some time to get everyone out of Muckingham at least. Uh-oh.
So this might not be a permanent fix, it just might have stalled it.
Yeah. Anyways.
Quick, we need to clean it up again. Make it dirty if we have to. Anything to get that laser throw out again.
Or
Yeah,
we can just drill into the sides.
Yeah. Anyways, as I was saying before Calvin decided to let me know what was up with the volcano, this kit actually has not only this patterned canvas, which is covered with a layer of sticky glue, but it also provides like a tool to stick the plastic bits on, as well as a little bit of wax to help keep the little diamonds, which are all made of resin plastic, don't worry, onto the tool until you stick it on. Oh, hey, Timmy. Hello, nice to meet you for the very first time ever. Aww.
Is it a kid? I think it's a kid.
I'm thinking it's a kid, too.
Oh, why? Because it's just Timmy and not like Tim?
I understand that you'll be working at... Oh, no, it's the guy who owns the airport.
That's what I thought.
Timmy Timerson the First.
I mean, maybe it's...
Now
maybe,
who has the egg on their faces?
Maybe he has enough... You go ahead.
I'll be relying on you to show the utmost discretion. Uh-huh.
Maybe he has enough street cred like Billy Joel.
Oh, we have some of the most important and secretive people in the world coming in and out of here. So whatever you see is not to be discussed with any other...
Human.
With any other human.
Is that clear?
It's the mayor!
Yep.
JJ the
aliens.
14th.
So, this is where he went. He based... Timmy Timerson is just a cover.
Yeah. Anyways.
And you all thought he was a child.
Yeah.
Well, he is a child.
A man-child.
Look at the state of this place. And he certainly does not have the street cred of Billy Joel.
Yeah, nope.
Or Billy Mays.
Nope.
Anyway, so yeah. So basically with this kid, you use the tool, put a little wax on the end, grab a diamond, stick it on. Oh my gosh.
So they're basically like a rhinestone kit.
Yeah, it is. But the end result is a very pretty picture. Okay, Timmy, quote unquote, is talking to me. To give you an example, only yesterday we had a private jet fly in. Who knows what was in the briefcases that they were carrying? But I can tell you, for nothing, that it wasn't stationary. Now, if you went around telling that to any Tom, Dick, or Barry, we all be in it.
Uh-huh. I wonder what could be in those suitcases. Sans! I just snorted a whole case of Coke! Really? That's so odd, bro. I just snorted a whole case of Pepsi.
For God's sake, Link!
I don't know. I've been on an Undertale kick lately.
Well, it happens every now and then. But yeah, I mean, anyways, back to my original topic. This isn't the first time I have those little moments where I go back to doing some arts and crafts. It's from when I was a kid. I've always had fun doing like those little hands-on arts and crafts stuff. From like heck, and I'm not just talking about like doing like paper bag puppets and stuff back in kindergarten. Though one time I did make my own little T-shirt. I still have it.
Out of paper?
No, an actual like little T-shirt that I colored myself, drew on and colored myself. I still have that T-shirt.
Wow, it must be important to you.
Yeah, it's got like a lot of memories. Plus, it also has my name on it, so I am not getting rid of that thing. But yeah, no. When I was like 7 years old, my mom got me into something called cross-stitching, where you use a special Ada cloth, which is like a kind of gridded fabric with holes in like easy, precise places, and like make a pattern out of extra. Sonia, we found something else in the desert. Ready for another historic moment? I hope it's another statue to stop the volcano.
Maybe there are 3 of them.
Every day brings a new reason to keep your mouth shut. Okay, what's up, Timmy?
Thanks for interrupting Sonia, Mayor.
We got a celeb couple flying out tonight. Okay. A celeb couple, huh?
And who are they?
Not only, they're not a couple,
Harry?
if you get my meaning.
They're not a couple. Okay.
But you recognize them right away. They're from that new film Bill Shakespeare about the poetic duck, you know. Is there a pop culture reference here that I'm missing?
No, not as much. Not in so many words. I think that it's just amusing that they basically make a pun on William Shakespeare's name by turning the bard into a duck.
Ah, okay. Anyways, so yeah.
Or not to be? That's the question.
Fun fact, did you know that there have been multiple depictions with Donald Duck and Daffy being in the military?
Yeah, they were strangely being used as the poster boys, weren't they? I mean, I know that they had a few episodes where Bugs was testing warheads, but...
Yeah. Anyways, getting back to my little story. Yeah, so you make a picture from a pattern that you find, usually in a cross-stitch magazine or online these days, and you make the picture out of different X's. And oh my gosh, would you stop interrupting me?
Yep.
Also, at some point, this billionaire, probably the most secretive in the world, he's flying in.
Oh, is that Mr. Thrust?
He's a business acquaintance of mine. He's probably the most interesting of the lot.
Yep, that's him. Mr. Thrust? Mr. Thrust? Oh, Mr. Thrust, you've done it again.
He lives in a cave like a superhero.
Yep, that's definitely him.
Yeah, they're all getting out of Dodge. He says he's accessorized the heck out of it, and he's going to take me there one day. Can't wait. Foreshadowing to a future job? Anyway.
A cave. For all we know, it could be Mermaid Man.
I was gonna say, like, do we know if this is actually we already confirmed that it's canon. Every single thing that happens in this game is canon to the universe and connects the two, which is why Laura Croft lives in the same world as SpongeBob SquarePants.
That is so strange to consider.
Huh.
I mean, what?
Yeah, sorry for interrupting, but these guys promoted Caldera Cola. I wonder if they have a nice tea version.
Caldera Cola. I bet it's like one of those cola variants that has a spicy zing to it.
Probably. Anyways, so yeah, like I was saying before, I was rudely interrupted by the dang mayor again. You make like little X's using a needle and embroidery thread, and it makes a beautiful picture.
I think that my sister and some of my other siblings actually did something like that in our youth. One of them really took to it, and that basically inspired her love of knitting.
Aw, yeah. Sometimes they'll see embroidery does like spark up other like little arts and crafts hobbies.
Yep.
So yeah, and another arts and crafts in my childhood that was like a huge influence from not a huge influence, but it was something my sister was really into, is making those bead animals.
Oh yes, the bead animals. I remember we did that at least once.
Well, here's the thing.
Yeah.
My dear sister, Dark Dragoon, could not stop making lizards.
She couldn't stop making lizards, huh? What kind of lizards did she make?
Not
really.
Yeah,
we're talking about you.
I was just mentioning how that when we were kids, you made like lizard upon lizard with beads.
And she totally didn't mention your fear of spiders.
I still have like one or two of them.
Yep, and if I recall correctly, Mom and Dad still had that one lizard with the extremely long tail for a Christmas decoration.
That was
Aw,
fun to
that's
do.
cute.
Like, if that's,
Is it finally raining?
That's chaos in a bottle right there. But yeah, like, I remember we had that bucket of beads, and I actually did some of the most complicated looking ones, too.
Oh, yeah. Dang, those are some good fun times in our childhood. Don't you agree, sis?
Yeah,
By the way,
yeah,
this
I'll
might be
say.
just me,
I'll
but
say
did
that
you
sounds
hear
really exciting and everything.
her say
Anyway,
bucket
I'm gonna
of
go back
bees?
to what I was doing.
Yeah.
Bees?
Yeah, I know. When we were kids, our relatives constantly gave us like buckets of those plastic beads to make animals with. When we were into
bees.
something,
I heard
Yeah.
bees.
yeah, I know.
I knew
Well,
what she
she
was
was-
talking about the entire time, though.
yeah, but yeah, but yeah.
94%.
Yep. Well, this is a $400 job, so I'm not surprised that it's not taking us that long.
No wonder JJ is interrupting us on every few minutes. You guys are basically tearing through this like a knife through butter.
Yeah. So
I remember
yeah.
basically with those bead things, the only things I ever managed to make was like one Godzilla and maybe one little larval Mothra. Which is a shame.
Aw,
I really should
that's
have done.
adorable.
Yeah, I really wish that I still had them. I really
Well-
should have made a butterfly version of Mothra, though.
Yeah. So yeah. So sometime this week, since there's like a little place called Lent's Mill Store, like up the street from where I live. I'm gonna head over there and take a look at their cross-stitch kits and beady kit. Not beady kits, diamond art kits.
Well, good luck to you.
Yeah. Have you ever had like those arts and crafts moments there, Chaos?
I made a couple of things in high school.
Ooh.
I've made a desk. I've made a chair. I've made a little book carrying case.
Oh,
What? Did you guys have a woodshop class?
I
Yeah.
think he did.
Who's here?
Not sure who's here, but I have another viewer that I popped in. Hello.
Hey there.
Can
Identify
you imagine-
yourself.
Can you imagine if I actually managed to build half those things, but without using wood?
Oh, so you made them out of like plastic straws, didn't you?
My school had very weird classes. Arts and crafts have never been the same since they cut the budgets, but kept the classes.
Yeah.
Wait, so I was right?
No, it
Darn it.
was wood class.
Ah. Because when my brother was in high school, he took a physics class that basically like had an engineering project, and his job was basically to take plastic straws that you would get from places like McDonald's, all those kinds of restaurants. You probably don't have them anymore, LT. You probably have them as paper now. But anyways, the assignment was to take these straws and construct some kind of bridge or shelf that is strong enough to hold the weight of the science textbook that they had. And this thing was a brick of a beast. This thing would basically, like, you would think that it would just completely flatten a straw if it sat upon it, but the way that you have to basically set them up structurally to where each one of them will basically support each other and hold the weight, my brother eventually managed to get it done. He basically held them together using these little needle pins with little colored dots on the end of them. But yeah, that was a weird year. I remember basically every single time we'd go to a fast food restaurant, we would just grab handfuls of straws and basically say, "This is for school."
There we go.
Yeah. I gotta admit, me and my brother might not have always seen eye to eye back then, but I honestly don't think that kid worked harder on any other things than his science classes, at least until World of Warcraft destroyed his brain.
Which one did you? Okay, it's just the support now. There we go.
I am the support. Ah!
Yes, you are. Dang, look at us go. We were talking about childhood memories with arts and crafts, and now this happens. Let's see here. Sweet mercy, you're a marvel. I've just been asked to do a free Bell Tales side for the new Mint Spice Christmas movie, and I can't. And it's all thanks to you. No worries, Jean-Claude. Wait.
Jean-Claude Flambeau.
I think he's a reference to something.
He could be a reference to Jean-Claude Van Damme, but the name Flambeau, it's basically kind of like a play on the word flamboyant.
Ah.
JCF, yeah, that's definitely, they're lampooning JSDF.
Yep. Oh, we got ourselves another statue. Clean the ancient monument. Thanks for coming.
This one is even bigger.
Yep.
That's what she said. I couldn't help it.
You took my sister's line! Thanks for coming. We got a fresh discovery in urgent need of a hose down. We're scouting the area after recent seismic activity and found this curious hand statue that's never been seen before, completely unearthed. Well, it's been seen before. Someone made it, but you know what I mean. Unquestionably pre-Columbian. It could be the work of the same civilization as the statues. We won't know for sure until you work your magic on it. Thanks again for your help before. We're learning fresh stuff about these people all the time. And it's a $500 job.
$500. Let me guess. It's pointing directly at Mount Rushless.
I'm gonna have a look.
Or maybe it's like in City Slickers 2, The Legend of Curly's Gold. That's the map marker. The hand points the way.
Yeah.
Man, that's such a good scene when Mitch
Oh,
sees
dang!
the
Look
rock.
at this beautiful scene.
Come on.
Neat.
There
I didn't
we
know you
go.
were bringing me to Mars already.
Holy crap, we are on Mars.
Tumbleweed!
What? Where is it? Did she say tumbleweed?
Perish.
Yee! Ah, no! Invisible walls!
It's actually moving.
I'll come back. Well, let's get these guys a hand. But yeah,
You
aside
see,
from...
this is why during the COVID situation they told you to always wash your hands.
Yeah. Strange how that index finger is pointing in that specific spot, don't you think? Yeah. Oh, it's back!
Man,
Nothing in that direction for
tumbleweed, you're
miles
like a
until you hit the coast, in fact. Sorry, I could not help myself.
That-
Oh, hey, it's got
Nothing-
like that same fin pattern as the statue. I mean, the marina's there, but it wasn't back in those days.
The mountain is in the opposite direction. Maybe it's going to divert the heat from the volcano out to sea?
Maybe.
Maybe it'll fly up to the mayor's place and then give him the finger.
But yeah, with that tumbleweed, you're basically like a cat chasing a ball of paper across the floor.
I'm sorry! I just thought it was like, you're gonna spray it!
Oh well. If
You,
I ever meet-
admittedly, you do the same if you played this game.
Well, it's good to know that if I ever meet you in real life, all I need to do is bring my laser pointer. Should totally make a comic about that.
Yeah. Great, now you're giving me more lore. I have some cat genes in me.
I mean,
Well,
foxes are basically like dog software with cat. No, wait, dog hardware with cat software.
Makes sense.
You cannot tell me that you don't already have some genes with some cat iconography on them.
Considering that 90% of my alternate characters that if there's no Kitsune are of the feline kind, I'm not going to deny.
No, I'm referring to DNA genes. I meant clothing genes.
Oh,
Yeah. I was wondering if you'd pick up on that.
son of a...
Set of shepherds I know.
Yeah. You know, now that you're mentioning like working class in high school and all, couple of my siblings actually took up like a metalworking class or shop class in high school too.
Auto shop?
I'm not sure if it's auto shop, but they were working with metal, and one of them, and I think it was like Cherry who did it, and she made like herself her own little metal box as well as a bookshelf. So yeah, we need more classes like that in schools.
We really do.
But now, all they're focusing on is, okay, prove that you can do X, do A plus C equals B to the power of X or something.
Basically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ah, there it is. Oh, well, you got the back. I'll get the front. Get this.
But with
Finger
this
up.
statue, is it just me, or is the volcano even is the volcano smoking like it used to?
Hmm? Well, it's not smoking that badly, but
I thought I saw red.
let's see. Okay, do we have any tools? Do we have at least a scaffolding out here? Apparently not.
Maybe
I think the
it
red. I think the.
What?
I think the red tint is from the fact that we're out in the desert. There's lots of red sand, and there's kind of a sunset.
Hmm.
Like Link, how could you suspect that it's just the volcano alone? We are on Mars after all.
But I'm just trying to basically figure this out. Because, like, here I'm thinking that, like, well, we're not downhill from the volcano. If this thing is pointing toward the ocean, it could be indicated that maybe this is the direction that the lava needs to flow to create more land, and thus
On that
cause
note,
the
I
least
think
amount of damage.
On that note, then, I guess we'll save the pointer finger for last.
Yep. Because we will definitely want to see what's going to happen, like when it gets clean.
Yep. I already missed the statue, the fur shooting out that, like, that crazy beam the first time. Oh, I suppose it could be pointing to the stars.
Maybe.
Yeah, that's what Sonia is saying.
Clearly, it was pointing towards where the tumbleweed
Andromeda could have been
was.
at that exact spot around 8,000 years ago. Maybe that's it? No, it's more pointing out rather than up.
Yep. It's definitely pointing toward the coast.
Okay, might as
Maybe
well.
maybe there was another volcano out there, but it completely exploded.
There we go. This should make things a little quicker. A little bit of soap.
Get the soap. Well, so I think that basically, like, passing the mic a little bit on a little bit, I think that Chaos can probably inform us about everything that's going on. I hear that there's a new game out called Baldur's Gate 3. Is that right?
Oh boy.
And I
Boy,
hear there's a lot of controversy going on around it. You want to enlighten us?
Yes, the controversy that a bunch of devs are salty that the game is being a great success despite having no microtransactions or DRM, anti-pirating software, whatever, for like most AAA publishers do, with many of them saying, oh yeah, we shouldn't expect stuff with, not everyone can have great funding and lots of support over several years, with one of the devs snapping back with great funding.
So
Got kickstarted.
That's what the controversy is, the fact that they couldn't shove all these predatory things into their game and it's somehow still a success.
This goes
Yeah.
to show microtransactions aren't everything.
I think it goes to show that game developers are completely disconnected with not just their audience, but reality.
I think it's more of the stockholders and the upper management, honestly.
Then they should get their own Twitter accounts and stop basically using the devs.
I know.
I mean, because that is, like, basically a problem. Like, when you've got celebrities that basically are so big, sometimes their publicists will basically use their social media accounts without their knowledge or without their permissions in order to basically, I don't know, do PR work or things that they think will get good traction, which ultimately end up backfiring on them.
Mm-hmm.
Because otherwise, it is a very good game to my knowledge. The most going against it that is it that I'm aware of is mainly the sort of thing that if you're familiar with the company, they have some issues with. Like, they do a really good job with openings, but endings always, yeah, the conclusions could always use a little bit of work. Not like that they're bad, mind you, just since I haven't had a hand on the game myself. It's just a case of certain options needing a little bit of time, perhaps due to becoming a little bit ambitious. Like, for example, originally there were, let's see, 1, 2...
Yeah, sorry to interrupt. Calvin's talking. I've been in contact with the fire chief, and evacuations are taking place for everyone in my camp. Close fire helicopter has been called in to see if anything can be done to calm Mount Rushless. Be sure to keep your distance. Keeping my distance ain't good to be a problem there, Cal. Whoa, wait a second! Whoa! Over here!
Is it a gnome?
Cats!
There's a whole line of cats!
We found them! Ulysses was in the desert.
But where are they going? I thought I heard them meowing at cats in my right ear. Oh, and there's the gnome.
They're headed for the coast.
They knew what was going on. That's why Ulysses left.
Are they gonna come out the other side, or is it just... Yep, there they are.
Holy crud!
Well, son of a gun.
I just wish that someone would react to this. Like, you found the cats?
Mm-hmm.
That'd be nice.
Dang, look at them all. It wasn't just Ulysses that disappeared. It was all the town's cats. Wait, I think I see Ulysses among them. He was an orange one, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, I see him. He's walking alongside, I think, like a white or cream-colored cat.
Man, this is incredible. Just imagine if you hadn't seen this. Probably would have missed it.
Yeah, for a second there, I thought it was like another red-tailed hawk or something, but no, it's the cats! Holy! Let's get this finger done, then.
Yep.
Let's get this
So
whole
let's
hand
see.
done. Maybe this will definitely help.
Yeah. So yeah, there were... So to go back over the origin characters, which to sum up what they are very quickly for you, Link, origin characters are pretty much unique characters that you can play as, but if you don't play as them, they appear as NPC followers, with following their own unique storylines, quest lines, and all that. You don't need to recruit them if you don't want to, but they're there as options, as well as, playing as them. It helps fill out a party and whatnot.
Yep.
So, let's see. The first one you meet is a Githyanki called Lazelle. She is a fierce warrior that more or less introduces anyone who isn't familiar with the Githyanki to the Githyanki. Githyanki are pretty much aliens that were once a slave race under the Mind Flayers, the Cthulhu people head-looking things that eat people's brains and turn them into more Mind Flayers. And her whole goal, besides from the main plot, is to become a dragon rider in service of her queen, who is a immortal lich.
I just don't have any lich jokes anymore, do I?
I know.
Not exactly,
But
not even the bare bones of it.
Nope. I guess you'd say that I just couldn't find anything humorous in it.
Well, one thing for sure is that if you ever fight a Githyanki, you could say that all of them are sons of liches.
Man, I guess that really tickled my funny bone.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Next up, and the second one is Shadowheart, who is a human cleric to Shar, a goddess of night, and not the nice variant. and she's very jealous of her sister, who is a much more revered moon-related goddess, if I recall correctly. But Shadowheart herself has a much nicer personality, and had her memory erased, and was told to go try to find herself a artifact for part of her order.
Yeah. Oh, Jerry Jambalaya got a shrimper to clean up next. Sonia said, I've only just realized that there are 6 fingers. What else have we missed? Wait, let's see here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Wow. Anyways,
So yeah.
I know who this statue belongs to. There's only
Who?
one person that this statue could have possibly been modeled after.
The guy who stole my grandfather's fingers.
Stanford Pines.
I get that! Gravity Falls!
Yeah, I wonder how old Sixer has been doing.
Yeah.
I wasn't kidding, by the way. My grandfather, well, not fully anyway. My grandfather did not have a full 10 digits. He lost 2 of them when he was a child.
Oof.
Who took
Due
him?
to a train.
Train.
Ooh, ow! Oh!
You see, kids, this is why you don't play near the railroad tracks.
Ouch.
Long story short, back in the day, it was customary to just send your children outside to go play.
Wander the streets.
He and his brother were on a bicycle. They were going downhill. They couldn't stop. A lady threw her bag at them to try to slow them down. She succeeded enough, just not enough.
Oh.
This
Neither
makes no
my
sense, and yet it's working.
Yeah, my grandfather and his brother didn't die, but one of them did have to go to the hospital and needed to get one of those 3 lost digits reattached. The other 2 just became stumps.
That definitely sounds worse than my uncle losing his thumb while cutting up green peppers.
Oh yeah, and this was back when he was like a young child too. So he ended up getting bullied about it a lot going through schools because he didn't have full 10 fingers. His kids are cruel like that.
This kid has a debilitating injury. Let's make fun of him for it.
Oh, more cats!
And thus he responded naturally by growing up to be a menace to society. He lost 2 of his fingers, so he made that anyone problem who messes with him and his family.
Yeah,
Like, were they all on the same hand, or did he even it out in a kind of way?
All in the same hand.
Darn it, that's awful.
Yeah.
You,
I think it was his dominant hand too.
Ooh, that's even worse!
You know what I would basically have done if I were your grandfather?
What?
Throughout my life as I was growing up, I'd basically start a rumor that I basically had done work for the Yakuza, and this was what happened when I talked too much.
As funny as that would be, I highly doubt my grandfather would have known what that was to be.
Yep.
Or anyone back in his hometown. But
I guess the closest thing we'll have is the Mafia.
Yeah.
Because
It's
that's
like that
basically
thing-
what the Yakuza is. Japanese Mafia. There we go.
That's what they are.
Okay. Well, the annoying part, trying to clean in the hand.
Yeah, gotta get into those cracks. But yeah, Stanford Pines.
But yeah, it was, despite all that, he did manage to live a long life, and as mentioned before, thanks to all the bullying and toughing himself up, he became,
Absolute menace to society.
oh yeah. Like, there was one time where a guy wanted to fight him while he was in the bathroom.
In the bathroom?
Yeah. My grandfather told him to hold his horses. He's, trying to take a leak. So so the guy waited. My grandfather zipped up. Before the guy could do his first swing, my grandfather grabbed the guy's head, shoved it through the wooden wall.
Well, he could have done worse. He could have shoved it into the urinal.
Yeah.
Ew.
I mean, basically, that's where I thought the story was going.
That would have been funny. I think my grandfather just didn't want to get himself wet in the process.
Or maybe he just didn't want to leave evidence.
Yeah.
Because admittedly, as humiliating as that
in.
would be, it's not a good idea to basically leave your DNA all over a victim.
Yeah.
It's just a little bit awkward.
And that's how my grandfather met my grandmother.
Aha!
Whoa.
I'm not 100% certain, but I want to say that she was working at the same place where that happened. I am not 100% certain of how it actually went down, like those two meeting, but I know that happened.
Okay.
But I miss Pa. He's been gone for a long time, and, well, I only hope that he's with Nana, since, unfortunately, she died when I was about 5 years old, and he got to live another 16 years afterwards, I want to say.
Well, I'm sure they're happy up there, and he's probably and he's also probably giving them some trouble too. Hi, Doc. It's Leonard, Cal's dad. Hi, Leonard. I recognize the all caps.
Why are we Doc? All of a sudden, do we have a PDHD in washing?
Maybe our first name
The
is
volcano's
Doctor.
about to blow sky high, and all that cleaning you did for our bungalow will be for nothing. Don't worry, it'll soon be solved.
I hope so. The cats know something.
Yeah.
The car is still looking good, though, and safely packed away in the garage. Thanks, Leonard.
You know, I can't help but be reminded of, like, the fact that he's typing in all caps on, like, a text message. It kind of reminds me of George's dad from Seinfeld from one episode. He leaves a message on Jerry's answering machine. Jerry, Mr. Steinbrenner is here. George is dead. Call me back. Yeah, it's an episode where George basically goes missing and everybody thinks he's dead for a little bit. You gotta get over there right now. Your parents think you're dead. What? Look, I gotta fix this. I gotta make sure that I gotta basically get the car fixed and get back to before anybody realizes what's going on. You're not gonna let your parents know you're alive? No, they can use the brake. You're not gonna let your parents know you're alive? No, they can use the brake. Well, got about 83% on this hand situation going. I see that you guys got a real nice grip on it, and she really hands-on, I should say.
Yep. But yeah, anyways, who are the other characters of Baldur's Gate 3?
Thank you. I was wondering we were going to bring that up. So after Shadowheart, the cleric of the group, who, funny enough, is not worshipped but any sort of life goddess like you would expect from the party's first essential white mage, there is Gale, a archmage from Waterdeep, who, thanks to a tadpole being stuck into his brain, is pretty much a level 1 wizard, and thanks to a orb shoved into his chest, he's also a nuclear bomb that needs to be fed magical items, else he blows up.
What is this guy? Just a storage unit for random crap?
Long story short, he managed to do so well as an archmage, he managed to become one of the goddess of magic's many lovers. He made the folly of, wanting a little bit too much in terms of magic, and bada bing, bada boom, he got a orb stuck in his chest for his folly and hubris, and has to feed that or else risk blowing up.
He's got a frog in his brain and a nuke in his tent.
More like a mind flayer spawn.
Yeah, so less frog, more squid.
I'd rather the squids of Splatoon. Speaking of which, sorry.
I just want to see, like, because in one of the trailers they have a cinematic where they show what happens when somebody gets turned into a mind flayer. Now I just want to see that thing, except the infamous Splatoon song is playing over it. You're a kid now. You're a squid now.
Oh,
I mean, is that what they mean when they say embrace your inner child?
Yeah.
Oh, it finally took. She finally got it, huh?
No, I got surprised by Chaos, like, coming by to, like, clean on the inside of the palm.
That figures, huh?
Yeah. Oh, speaking of which,
Oh.
that was bright.
Yay! More of the head is done.
Yeah, anyway, speaking of which, there's a bit of minor controversy over a silly little thing going on with Splatoon 3. Just recently, there was a Splatfest one saying what's more important in life. Money, fame, or love. And of course the results are in. Team Money won. But Team Love is claiming homophobia when really but in reality it's just a lot of fans of Shiver that went on the same team.
What?
Seriously? They immediately jumped to homophobia just because Love didn't win?
Yeah. This isn't the first time that things got super salty.
I mean, first of all, our society has basically programmed us to value money above everything. Secondly, literally speaking, do these people not realize that when you have the money, everything follows after? You get the money first, then you worry about love. And then thirdly, this had literally nothing to do with homophobia.
Like I said, they were being salty about the team losing, but all three actually did pretty well with getting clout for their teams. It was just a matter of which team had the more players.
It sounds like to me that yeah, like you said, like Team Love was just really salty. Plus, didn't it, if I recall correctly, wasn't the whole thing just wasn't Team Love being represented by what was it, like Big Man or something like that?
Big Man the Manta Ray. And he's one of the biggest loving guys ever.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And I think the thing used to represent love there was Small Fry, I think, which is it's actually treated more like a head than anything else, I want to say.
Yeah, but either way, it's just kind of stupid, especially since I joined Team Love, because that's what I felt like, and I was also being fair to the other two teams.
Yeah.
And most of my games were against my members of the same team as me anyway, so I don't know what everyone's going crazy about.
Yeah.
Anyways, sorry for veering the topic off again.
It's fine, it's fine. Let's see. So after Gale, we meet Astarion, who is unique because he's the first guy since Lae'zel who isn't human. He's an elf. And also, somewhat more uniquely, because I don't think you have the option of doing this normally, he is a vampire spawn. Not a Dampier, a straight-up vampire spawn.
A vampire elf?
Yep.
Well, you're already gonna live forever in one. That seems like a bit redundant to go with the other.
Well, to be fair, when you're a vampire spawn, the transformation wasn't what he wanted. he was pretty much forced into it, you could say. And personal freedom is a very big is a very big thing for him for that exact reason. And the only reason why he manages to escape or, live in the daylight is because he has a tadpole. Because his tadpole gives him some immunity to the sunlight. And also overriding much of his otherwise programmed obedience to his master, Cazador, who is a massive prick.
Okay, webbing.
So he seems to be the typical standard for a boss. Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much. Well, all in all, of the origin characters, I like him the most, mainly because he has all sorts of nice lines. Like Death. Like one of my favorite lines is that you're like, without going into too much details, there's a circus going on, and you have to go interact, and you're being pretty much asked by the clown to interact with them, and you have the option of volunteering Astarion, and he's like, oh, alright, I would love to come do it. And then he whispers to your character, I'm going to freaking kill you.
Try the edges of the webbing, LT.
Yeah, I'm trying.
Because to make matters worse, he specifically said beforehand that he doesn't like clowns. So you have to pretty much force him to do it while knowing about that. And so while he disapproves of the decision, other members of the party will actually approve of sending Astarion in. Because it's funny. But yeah. Beyond him, we get the last and final of the original set of Origin Companions, Will, with a Y. Not an I, but a Y. Apparently no one knew how to spell Will.
Are you stirring up a Coke or something there, Link?
Nope, just finishing my scrambled eggs.
Oh, okay. Alright, here we go.
Here it is, the sunset. I always like to count it down. 5. You do the rest, buddy.
Meow.
Taking my time with
this.
this.
If anything does happen, you guys are going to have a great view of it.
Or at least I will, because remember, Chaos can't see it.
Well, the stream is definitely going to get a great view of it.
Yep.
In the end, that's all that really matters.
Okay.
Maybe the tip will just glow like E.T. I'll be
okay,
right
nothing's happening.
here.
If we tell like one last thing.
Weird.
Nothing happened.
Yeah, I was
What
expecting.
a ripoff!
Yeah, I was expecting like another big bright light.
Yeah, isn't the job? Yeah, the job is complete. What a ripoff!
Maybe the cast are just following the finger, and that's supposed to be the big takeaway.
Fantastic a job, Witchy. The secret geometry, the 6 fingers, so much to get her teeth sunk into. So exciting, so amazing to finally see the relics as they would have been seen at the time. You're a star. All right.
Maybe, for all we know, like this hand statue could just be the hand of the statue that we've already cleaned. Who knows? It could have basically been broken off and landed here.
Maybe.
And here we go, $1,000 job in the fishing boat.
Yay! I'm gonna need more drink.
Jerry Jambalaya, Crab Bay Marina. I swear the world's getting weirder by the day. Last time I was out on my boat when I caught a whiff of this glorious smell. Imagine you took the juiciest little shrimp and hand sawed the bits of that flavor that you let remove all the bits you hated, then add a pinch of parsley. That was the smell. Naturally, I followed it and I had gone half a nautical mile mile west due to when this huge wave cow nowhere scooped me up and beached me on the foreshore like a curious beluga. I'm gonna need a good hosting before I hit those waves again.
Curse you, merciful Poseidon! But you're at the marina now.
Mhm.
Keep an eye out for the cats. I
Yep.
have a feeling that they're going to show up here.
Mm-hmm. Alrighty. We're here. We're at the marina. I don't see any cats quite yet. At least we're provided a lot of things to, like, get to the higher bits with. Gotta say, in all my time at sea, I've never seen a wave like that before. Whoop. I'm racking my brain trying to think of what could have caused such a thing. I have a feeling our statue was in the cause of that. It's like some kind of thing you expect when the side of a falls off a volcano, or there's a subterranean earthquake or some such. Uh-oh. That's not good. But, yeah. Oh!
Hmm?
Look, towards the... Look towards the town. Look up.
I see it.
Yep. Anyways, which character were you talking about again before?
Will.
Will.
So beyond his name being as accurate as Combat and Mortal Kombat, that Will is a folk hero around the Swords Coast known as the Blade of Frontiers. It was originally from Baldur's Gate. Baldur's Gate tried his luck to be an adventurer, got himself stuck, formed a deal with a Cambion, a half-fiend person, from Hell in order to escape, and his father, with this, decided to disown him. He responds by saying that despite his the dark powers he has, he can still try to be a hero. So, and that's essentially what he does. And originally that was pretty beyond him trying to break away from his patron's dark influence. That was effectively all he did, or at least until they decided to have his backstory be connected to the newest member of the origin character crew, which is Karlach. Karlach is, for all intents and purposes, this is the newest addition, who is a tiefling who was sold off to Hell to serve in the eternal war between demons and devils, to which the archdevil Zariel, a former angel, wanted her to be a heartless menace on the battlefield. And she meant that literally, as she ripped out her heart and replaced it with something called a fertile engine that keeps her body hot and makes it that way combatants engaging in melee will get burned. But it also means that she can't engage in intimacy with anyone without, well, burning them.
Jinx.
Yep. Now you're too slow. And, thankfully, she's being out through the power of what goes on in the story. She gets saved. Well, for a given definition of saved, and brought back to Faerun, which comes with which comes with a good side and a bad side. Good news is she doesn't have to spend every waking moment in a eternal war without end. Yay! Bad news. she is now, unfortunately, stuck with a very pressing situation of her engine wasn't made to exist outside of hell, and so will explode if not properly maintenance.
Okay, what is it with some of these guys and having items inside them that'll blow up if something, if not properly taken care of?
I think
It's a
the DM
fail-safe.
just like having a... it I don't know. The DM really liked having that as a gimmick for some characters. But yeah. So again, to go over the roll call of classes, we have Lae'zel the fighter, Shadowheart the cleric, Gale the wizard, Astarion the rogue. I don't think I mentioned his at all because him being a rogue technically isn't all that important, other than his personality, I guess. Which, well, Bard would certainly fit as well, if you ask me, but that's neither here or there. Then we got Will, the warlock, and Karlach, the barbarian. Karlach has her own naturally unique ending thing, but it is unfortunately somewhat rushed because she was a later addition compared to the other members of the crew.
That stinks.
Yeah, but this isn't anything new. The last game that Larian did suffered this too, but they eventually updated the game with a definitive edition, with added more for the characters that ended up being a lot lacking. So I have no doubt they'll do that again with Baldur's Gate 3.
Yeah. Yeah, they
Especially
realized.
given how well it's been doing.
Yeah. So they'll find. See, this proves, once again, this proves you don't need microtransactions to make a popular game.
Yep.
You just gotta make a good game.
Yep.
Yeah, but that's so much effort nowadays, and microtransactions are just so easy to make money off of impressionable children.
Yep. So, to go
I
a
mean,
bit
so
more.
what if our future generation gets addicted to gambling?
So, anyway. Okay, there is another origin that I almost forgot to bring up. I didn't bring it up specifically because it's not because ironically enough, it is a custom origin character, which is not the same as making your own custom character. No. This is a character with a set origin, but you get to change the story or how they look and what their class was beforehand. It is called the Dark Urge, which is essentially, what if your character had dark, violent thoughts about murdering and maiming everything within sight?
Well, I'd call that a normal day at work.
Yep. And so you have to, and so as the Dark Urge, you have to choose whether or not you want to accept these thoughts or reject them. Naturally, both have their own separate path with determining how things play out. Now, but otherwise, it is a very personal experience. I know there's one character I have that would be perfect for a Dark Urge playthrough.
Yep.
That is a very big plume of smoke.
Oh, yeah. That is, like, very concerning. Since it tells me that statue was only a temporary fix.
I mean, seriously, we're at the coast. You saw what the volcano looked like in the distance. The statue was pointing here. Like, if it's that large at that distance, then, well, I think it's Goodnight Irene.
Yep. And, of course, while there's Origin Companions and, Origins, there's also normal companions that you can have. Like, there's a Drow Champion that you can recruit if you're, if either A, you sequence break, or B, are a bad person.
Yeah.
And go...
Hope that's you. Oh, it's Harper. He got a new number. Hope that's you. Wish you it's Harper. Lost my phone into the desert, so I had to get a new one. I think I remember your deets right. Anyway, Sonya thinks she's close to a breakthrough with the statues, so we might need you back over here soon. Okay.
All right.
I
hope
first
so.
response when he first tries doing this. Sir, this is the Wendy's.
This isn't the beach. This is a bathtub.
Then there's Halrin, a druid who is very infamous. Not in story. In story, he's a very, very good guy who only became a companion because of his how well he was received. But yeah, he was well. Let's just say the romance scene that he gets was so... It got the actual Baldur's Gate 3 TikTok account banned.
Wow.
What happens? In the middle of the thing, he turned into a bear. And the player had the option to say, go stay as the bear.
Oh!
And
Yes.
that got the TikTok banned?
You see, Link, I'm telling you, but you also get to see this happen. Granted, maybe not as much detail as, some certain game entries, but it is a rated M game.
So what, the bear transformation is pretty graphic or whatever?
Bestiality, yeah, my man.
Go stay as the bear. Nope, don't get it.
Did you miss the part where I said romance scene?
Yeah, I really must have missed that part.
Hey, let's see. Let's see. Beyond a couple of generic companions that you can get, there's the two other companions that I can recall you being able to get. Both of them having to be companions from the very first game. Then the second game of Baldur's Gate series. One was an elf, so naturally she had enough in her to be around this long. The second guy, I don't remember what his class is, but his main gimmick is that he has a pet hamster who's the brain of their operations.
That's adorable.
Yes.
I've got no comment.
Yeah, and he's a very, like, comic book of, like, superhero, like, very cheesy, sort of way from what I've seen of people interacting with him. Honestly, it's hilarious, and I'm looking forward to having him be in a party.
I mean, the only thing that I could possibly think of in response to that is this movie that came out, like, I don't know, more than 10 years ago at this point. Disney put it out. It's called G-Force. It's a movie where basically hyper-intelligent gerbils are trained to be secret agents for some kind of secret organization, but they accidentally end up getting sent to a pet store instead. And I just remember there's like this one normal gerbil that's at like the pet store that's basically talking to them. He's meant to be the comic relief, and these two intelligent gerbils, they're trying to escape, and it's like, you can't possibly get out of here. The mice think that we can get out of here. The mice are the mice don't know nothing. You guys are all idiots, right? Right.
At it. That's funny.
Yeah,
Oh,
too
yeah.
bad the movie isn't really rememberable past that part.
I think there's two other companions I can think of, but they're A, mutually exclusive, and B, heavily spoiler-ridden, and so I don't want to focus too much on them, other than they have very unique abilities compared to everyone else. So, funny enough, just to go into about it, that some people are disappointed that the companions from the original Baldur's Gate are, despite effectively having lived through the first game and the second game, not being nearly as strong as they were back in the prior game. But I'm just going to put that under A, time, and B, level just being a figment, and C, at the very least, release, unless you're dealing with a world catastrophe or going on even greater adventures, I don't imagine people's thing changing that drastically, and, you know, gameplay. So I don't think anyone wants to be carried by a much higher level NPC ally.
Yep. On top of all that, this takes place sometime after the second game, doesn't it?
Yeah. I want to say about 100 years. Which
So
is
some
what
of them
the
are
earlier-
probably dead by now.
Well, no, well, except the elves and the guy who got petrified along with his pet hamster. Yes, not only did the guy get turned into a statue, but so did his hamster, and he managed to break free of that eventually, and somehow wind up in the mouth of a mimic before
Yeah.
breaking out of that
That is
too.
one tough little hamster.
It was the guy who broke out. I don't think the hamster, ironically enough, got caught by the mimic.
Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
the hamster was too smart.
Remember, brains of the operation.
Right.
The part is, the guy's not even a druid or a ranger. He might be a ranger. I don't know. Let me double check.
Well, is he a teenager with attitude?
No, I'm pretty sure it's not a Power Ranger either.
Well, then he's just not qualified.
Actually, maybe he is a ranger. Let's see. Oh yeah, he is a ranger.
Go. Dang. Right, but my point still stands. The ones that are probably gone are
Sorry, I was doing research. So, to go over the guy's name properly, his name is Minsk, and his hamster is called Boo.
Boo?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, the hamster is called Boo.
That is a very adorable name.
Does
Wanna
he
know-
have brothers? Bibbidi and Bobbidi.
You want to know what's funny?
What is funny?
So Boo is a summon that he gets to use, and
Yes.
to read the actual trope, to read it word for word from TV tropes, in the first two games, Boo is an inventory item from Minsk, and any ass-kicking done by him is off-screen and maybe the work of Minsk's imagination. Here, Boo is a summonable pet with a whopping 50 HP and hits comparable to a long sword. He has better stats than Scratch the Dog or Bargeese in Act 1, to the point where there are several videos online of Boo delivering the killing blow to various Act 3 villains.
What?
Killed by a hamster.
Oh, hey,
Well,
Jerry.
if it works, it works.
Have you heard of Freak Waves? Aside from the one you mentioned, not really.
Keep in mind, in Act 3, you're going up against, like, from what I understand, immortal wizard guy, the daughter of the god of murder, who can shapeshift into other people, and has a bit of a blood fetish.
Yeah, sorry,
This-
Jerry was also talking, but I didn't want to interrupt since you were in the
Yeah,
middle
sorry.
of a tangent.
Sorry,
So
go on
basically, he
ahead.
was just describing what causes a freak wave.
Ah. Why do I feel like volcanic activity is among them?
It probably is.
Well, let's also
Almost
not
definitely.
let's also not forget there was also the whole water pipe system
Oh,
that
yeah,
everyone
true.
seems to be against with the mayor.
Oh, poor guy. So apparently, one of their former allies, which because unfortunately in this timeline, some of the characters that you could redeem, unfortunately, did not stay redeemed. One of them tried to kill Boo with a knife and traumatized him that just hearing the former ally's name sends him into a panic.
Aww. Poor dude.
No, the hamster! The hamster!
Still, poor dude.
Yeah, yeah, fair enough. I find this. What I find hilarious is the fact that apparently the ally, like, despite having a knife and going up to get the hamster, didn't actually complete the job. Like, it was traumatic, sure, but oh, that's funny to me.
That's sad.
Yeah, it is. Something else that helped lighten up the mood, though, was so when Minsk and Boo meet the party, Minsk notices that Astarion, after seeing him washed in blood, seemed a bit like licking his lips and whatnot, and with a couple of other little behaviors I can't remember off the top of my head, he comes to the conclusion that Astarion is horribly scared of blood and is a coward, and was saddened that he must inform us of this.
But not
then
picking
gets him
up
into a
on.
conversation. Yeah, Boo then talks to him and says that he thinks Astarion is actually a vampire. Minsk then agrees, yeah, you know what, you're probably right. That's a very persuasive argument. Your friend's actually a vampire.
Okay, I believe you. I think Chancellor Palpatine is a Sith Lord. A Sith Lord?
I'm telling you, if they had a hamster back then, that would have, oh god, that reminds me of the thing that you talked about before, which, well, with more media I've seen, that seems to only put more and more emphasis on it, that, they are changing Anakin Skywalker's story.
Oh, you don't want to get me started at all. In fact, it's basically like one of the topics I had planned for today, or at least not necessarily Anakin, but more Star Wars news.
Yeah.
Oh boy. Who else got themselves in trouble with having their hand in the unwanted cookie jar?
Well, it's not necessarily like that. It's not who has gotten themselves in trouble, it's the fact that the consequences are now finally starting to catch up with them.
Oh, good.
Or her in this situation. Because
Okay. Let me guess. She got the biggest boots of her life.
this could be big. And it's not based on rumor, it's based on fact. The only rumors the only rumors that are coming out of this are the speculations about what all this could possibly mean, but it doesn't change the undeniable fact that these events are in fact happening. So, to give you guys a bit of a recap for all of our watchers out there, for the last month or so, due to the absolute embarrassing failure that Indiana Jones and the Diarrhea of Destiny ended up being, Kathleen Kennedy has been barred from the Lucasfilm offices. They basically officially state that she is basically taking some paid time off, when in reality she's not allowed to set foot on the premises. The Lucasfilm offices have been seized and are now under control of 5 Disney executives that have become to known colloquially as the Horsemen of the Bob-Apocalypse, or the Nazgul, as some are referring them to. And they are basically pulling open Lucasfilm's books and records, trying to find any sort of malfeasance that they can use against Kathleen Kennedy, because they are absolutely sick of her. The basic idea is that when George Lucas helped sign up Kathleen Kennedy's contract as part of the deal to sell Lucasfilm to Disney, he basically added a no-cause clause, basically meaning that they couldn't fire Kathleen Kennedy for gross incompetence, and that she could relatively just do whatever she wanted and copped any sort of attitude with her superiors at Disney without basically facing reprimand. But there is a morality clause in her contract, basically saying they can fire her if they can prove she has committed criminal activity, which is what this entire takeover at Lucasfilm has basically been about. They are digging up as many books as they possibly can, and they basically have already got quite a substantial bit of evidence to basically suggest that she is fudging the books on the Acolyte. Though I'm willing to bet that she basically has fudged the numbers on a whole lot more than that. So, here's the update that has basically happened. According to insider information, Kathleen Kennedy was allowed onto the premises this past Monday. Not yesterday, but the week before, and she was basically called in to have a meeting. I'm not necessarily sure on the details, if the meeting was with Bob Iger himself, or if it was the leader of the 5 Horsemen, some guy that they're referring to as the Witch King of Burbank. But anyway, they basically had a little bit of a meeting, and it's speculating as to what this meeting was basically about, basically giving Kathleen one last chance for her exit strategy. Basically saying that we basically know that you've got all this stuff on you. We've got all this stuff on you, that you've basically done all this stuff, so now we're going to offer you a choice. You can either choose to step down and save yourself a whole lot of embarrassment and just get out while you can, or we'll basically pursue these criminal charges and we'll just completely ruin whatever you might have left. Because effectively speaking, Lucasfilm basically can only, they basically have to keep renewing her contract unless these criminal charges can ultimately be proved. But I think that they're basically like trying to, I guess, give Kathleen one last chance because they're afraid of the bad PR. So, basically speaking, that's what a lot of people are speculating the meeting to be about. Now, you might be thinking, well, we all know that they've tried to do this before. They've tried to offer Kathleen Kennedy a peaceful solution to where she can leave in with grace and dignity, to where she basically won't be humiliated, and she basically chose war. We all know that basically back a few months ago during Star Wars Celebration, Bob Iger literally gave her a Viking funeral option to where the entirety of Star Wars Celebration would have been about her and her retirement. We could have basically had a retrospective of her entire career as if she was basically be willing to step down, and she didn't. She instead basically said, oh, we're instead going to be greenlighting all these new Star Wars projects, despite the fact that most Star Wars movie projects have been dead ever since the death of the Rise of Skywalker, and basically like Disney, all the shows on Disney Plus have been severely hit or miss as of late. That was basically her choosing war, and then Indiana Jones was the absolute last straw, and now Bob Iger is bringing the hammer down. But we all know that Kathleen is too stubborn and too stupid to actually take a good deal while it lasts, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, it seems that she might have actually gotten some brains faxed to her head. You see, it seems, and this is actually fully proven, 100% verifiable, Kathleen Kennedy and her husband, Frank Marshall, are putting their Malibu mansion up for sale at about $18.5 million. Yep. Basically, they are trying to sell the home that they have in California. Now, that could be indicative of a lot of things, but a lot of people are already beginning to speculate that why would she basically want to sell this house, and where is she planning to move? Because people aren't thinking that she's in a financial position to move to a much more glamorous and more expensive community. She's certainly not moving into a bigger house. What is she doing? She's fleeing.
Yep, she's running.
She's not just getting out of Lucasfilm, she's fleeing Hollywood altogether, because she knows basically what's going to happen next if she doesn't. This could be what Lucasfilm is basically offering her, to just step down and finally disappear, but she knows this doesn't end without her being disgraced. So she is basically abandoning Hollywood and abandoning show business altogether in order to basically save face. Or, well, not necessarily save face, because at this point that's impossible. She's basically trying to get away from the humiliation and being surrounded by neighbors who know that she has been disgraced and now actively are disgracing her. But anyways, the point of what it's
She's not
sort of
doing herself any favors doing that.
She's certainly not, but the thing about it is, this is pretty much the only victory that we can claim, is that you would think that since she is such a high-profile producer, the fact that most of the movies that she has sat on have been nominated for Oscars, but she certainly has not actually won any accolades to her name. But the point is that you would think that she would still be such a high-profile producer that people would still want to work with her. But I honestly don't think that that's the case anymore. And I think that she sees the writing on the wall that that's not going to be the case. So I think that she's going to try and basically claim that this is all her decision, this is all her doing. She's going to try to gracefully distance herself from filmmaking as much as possible and pursue another passion, pursue other projects in the final remaining years of her life, which we all know is just going to be hot BS on the sidewalk. But so let me just collect my thoughts here. How do I basically continue to basically highlight this the question is that why it ultimately had to get to this point and why it ultimately has been done so long. And the question that we all need to ask ourselves, is this in any ways even a good thing? And a lot of people are ultimately being rather cynical about it because of the simple fact is, yeah, after all these years, we finally got rid of Kathleen Kennedy, but after all these years, what does that matter anymore? The damage has been done at this point. In fact, a lot of people think that Kathleen Kennedy's motives over the last few years was that she knew the writing was on the wall, that her gambits weren't going to pay off, and eventually Disney was going to oust her. So why not just double down on doing as much damage as she can to Lucasfilm, to the brand, as much as possible, to basically kind of spite Disney in order to get back at them for, I don't know, or basically get back at the fans for basically rejecting her own little empire here. But, so she might be out, but the damage that she has caused is basically now permanent. I mean, unless Lucasfilm completely sells Lucasfilm back to into the hands of someone responsible, like say George Lucas or maybe even Spielberg. Let's see if Steven Spielberg will be interested in buying
Jerry's talking.
Lucas.
You see, in the deep ocean, the speed of a gravity wave is directly proportional to the square foot of its wavelength. A little science for you here. However, nonlinear effects can also cause the energy of smaller waves to bounce and consolidate into one huge wave. Okay.
Those are the freak waves.
I don't know, the whole thing beats me.
I think he means it beaches him.
Anyways, so yeah, I think if George Lucas is not willing to buy back his old film, I definitely say Spielberg's a good option.
Yeah, because it's like Spielberg's one of the most prominent filmmakers of not just our generation but more like of all time history. Like, why not give Spielberg a chance to see what he could do with Star Wars? I mean, he turned down the chance to direct The Phantom Menace all those years ago. Why not basically see what you can do after all this time? But going back on topic, with Kathleen Kennedy, fleeing from Lucasfilm, it makes sense as to this is what she would be doing in light of all this, because this is how these Hollywood celebrity types work. Their lives are constantly in the public view. Every single thing they do makes major publicity, so their agents are constantly trying to scramble and basically just try and find some good PR for them. And whenever they basically make a bad move like this, they basically gotta go critical. It's like, you gotta get out of there. You basically gotta run and keep on going. You gotta get someplace where hopefully no one knows your name. This is the kind of situation where you just gotta bug out, you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And I find it kind of ironic because, circling back around to even more topics that we covered last week, something like this actually happened in the Meg novel of Deep Sea Terror, because Jonas's first wife, Maggie, she was an absolutely horrible woman, and she basically has that whole kind of Hollywood celebrity mindset, and this is the kind of stuff that she was doing, basically kind of manipulating the scenes in order to make the press believe certain things about Jonah, to declare him legally insane so that she wouldn't look bad when she tried to divorce him. So the Hollywood, man, celebrity, it basically makes you into such a terrible person.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
There's some people out there who wants to become Hollywood actors and whatnot.
Me? Honestly, if I got one acting gig that paid over $1 million, that would be enough for me, because I don't want the Hollywood fame status. I just want the money. Basically, you take $1 million, you put it in the right kind of trust fund, you get interest about $10,000 a month. The government takes about $4,000 of that in taxes. I could easily live on the remaining $6,000 a month for the rest of my life. Certainly free up all my time to working on YouTube videos and finally finishing a damn book.
Yeah. So, yeah. I have a feeling she won't be running for long, though.
She might not be, but who knows? All we can basically do is just keep our eyes on the situation and just hope the door doesn't hit her on the way out.
Yep.
Of course, we basically have been taking so much joy in watching Disney destroy itself as of late. We haven't really considered the possibility that the situation could get exponentially worse.
Well, let's not jinx it, okay?
All I'm basically saying is what the news has basically been, because, like I basically said, Disney is now in a position where it has to start selling off its assets, which is why people are talking about them selling Lucasfilm back to George Lucas. We're hoping that's the best case scenario because, let's face it, I think that Star Wars basically belongs in George's hands. However,
yep.
Disney as a company itself has become so damaged and so devalued that people are starting to say that Disney itself is going to have to be sold, which is ironic considering that just a few years ago they spent $70 billion with a B to purchase 20th Century Fox. That was like a statement back then. The idea that Disney was now so large that they could literally buy out their competition, and now they're in a position where that purchase is starting to look pretty dang foolish because they could really be using that $70 billion money for in order to save themselves. Because now, basically, like they're the ones that are now being put up for sale, and it's looking like the only people who could potentially afford to buy Disney at any sort of price tag would be Apple.
You're kidding.
Nope. Basically speaking, for the last few years, it's basically been a joke as to which corporation is going to succeed in taking over the world. The two big headrunners were Disney and Apple. I have a feeling that if this sale actually does end up going through, we're going to have our definitive answer, and it's certainly not going to be a good time. I mean, technically speaking, the people who were at Apple technically started Pixar and everything, but still, I just don't think that a corporation that intentionally designs its technology to die after a few years just so that it can justify forcing you to buy a new one. I honestly don't think that they are the best in terms of making long-lasting and family-quality entertainment.
Yep. No doubt old Walt himself is rolling in his grave at this news.
I mean, I just cannot imagine it. I actually feel bad for the old fella because just imagining what your company managed to become, what you managed to create, all the hardships that you had to endure in order to make this thing a success. It became literally one of the most powerful corporations in the entire world, and yet over the last few decades you have seen it literally eat its own soul and is now literally destroying itself from the inside out.
Mm-hmm. Sad, really.
Yep. Honestly, I don't even think that I would want anybody to buy out Disney. I just feel like Disney, at this point, maybe it just needs to completely go bankrupt. Like, if it absolutely does 100% go bankrupt, then suddenly all the versions of the characters that they basically have had a stranglehold on, they all become public domain.
Yep.
Yep. Which, if I recall correctly, isn't Mickey Mouse himself already public domain now?
He's about to be. I think in 2024, the 95-year contract is basically, the 95-year copyright is basically going to expire, and he's going to, well, officially enter the public domain, but, well, there was a lot of technicalities to that because, well, for the one thing, it's not necessarily the Mickey Mouse as a character concept. It's basically the first incarnation of Mickey Mouse from Steamboat Willie. Now, we basically know that Steamboat Willie, the Mickey Mouse from all the way back in those cartoons, is a far cry different from the incarnations of Mickey Mouse that we have today. That version is going to become public domain, whereas the updated versions of Mickey Mouse will still be protected under copyright. But not only that, it's also the fact that even as copyrights expire, I'm pretty sure that Disney is now basically like looking into trademarking their characters to the point where trademarks don't actually expire. They could basically instead just continue to hold power over this character in perpetuity. So it's all complicated, and just thinking about it gives me a headache.
I'm sure it's giving me a headache just thinking, just listening. Holy crud.
And unfortunately, it's that kind of legal debacle that I basically gotta one day speak to a lawyer and hopefully navigate to see what it is that I can and cannot get away with when it comes to writing a certain book that I have basically been trying to write since 2007. Man, I've heard of slow readers, but slow writers? I'm making George R.R. Martin look good.
Mm-hmm. Speaking of books, I recall that you were going on about like the Meg books actually getting some newer copies.
Yep. You see, I basically started reading.
Hi, Get.
Hello.
Get. Is he in the chat or is he? Oh, there he is.
He's in the chat.
Hey, what's up, Get the man? Somebody pull his string. He's not talking.
Yeah, give him a minute. He probably got stuff in the background. Anyways.
Pull his string.
There we go.
Well,
the outside of the boat is done.
But yeah, I started reading the Meg series back in 2013 when I started college. I needed a new Jurassic Park to entertain myself.
Yeah. He says it's raining, and he says also to give him a sec to type.
Yep. Yeah, it's raining where I am too, or at least it was. Now it stopped. Meow.
Yeah.
Now I'm pouting. Oh, it's pouring.
Sorry, gotta take a little break. The dog is
Yeah, no worries.
eating me.
You go ahead, take care of the
that dog's
dog.
gonna take you for a walk.
We got a good chunk of this done, so...
Yeah, I mean, it's basically gone pretty quickly, I should say. Like, we're just coming up on the 2-hour mark.
Yep.
So anyways, with the Meg, at that time, Steve Alten had only published about 4 books. And basically, like, let's see... I read the final one, which at the time was Meg, Hell's Aquarium, and it definitely seemed like the biggest and most exciting of the Meg books at the time, but then, well, I couldn't find any more books in the series, so I figured maybe he's either taken a break for it, or maybe the series is done for a while, which is ironic, considering that the Hell's Aquarium kind of leaves off on a bit of a cliffhanger. I just basically thought that if the series didn't continue at that point, that's just the writer pretty much just throwing up his hand saying that humans beings can't fix this. Nature cannot be contained. The whole life breaks free, life finds a way kind of thing, like Jurassic Park. So it's basically like, this is a point where we admit defeat. Right now it's a storm where I'm at. Yeah, there's basically been a storm that's basically been blowing through the southeastern United States. I'm like right now. I live right above Gat, so basically like the storm hits us first, and then basically breezes down to Florida where he's at.
Yeah, I mean, there was a bit of a thunderstorm early this morning up here, too, in Ontario. I must have got the tail end of that.
Wow. It's just so weird. I basically like wake up from my. I just basically wake up in bed and I hear thundering outside. It's like, huh, that's odd. The rain never lasts this long. But, anyways, back to the Meg. As it turns out, however, Alton basically was just taking a break from the series because he actually had the next book in the series finished, The Meg Night Stalkers, but he wanted to save off releasing the book to coincide with the release of the Meg movie. The talks of making the movie had been in production hell literally since 1997, when he first got the book option for a big Hollywood budgeted movie. It's just that basically they basically were shopping it around to several types of several different studios. They wanted different types of producers, all kinds of scripts, and it just never really seemed to happen until 2018. Ooh. That's gotta be impressive, like friggin' 20 years after the book comes out. I kind of feel sorry for Alton because, like, when Michael Crichton published Jurassic Park in 1990, literally before the book was even finished, he told Steven Spielberg about it, and Spielberg's like, this is going to be a movie, and I want to make it. So, like, they basically pretended to shop around to other directors. They even considered Tim Burton to direct Jurassic Park, but it was already a foredrawn conclusion that it's like, Steven got me into this, he's directing. And, well, anyways, ever since, like, 2016, he's published, like, I think 3 more entries in the Meg series. So now there's up to a total of 7 books. And the 7th book actually isn't even out yet. It's going to be released December 1st of this year. So I guess that'll be something that I'll have to look for.
Yeah. Well, I'm happy for you. You got a book series out of something you like. In this case, prehistoric sharks.
Yeah. It's definitely really exciting, and it sort of just basically fills the niche of what I needed from Jurassic Park because,
I just want to know where that amazing smell was coming from. I won't forget for as long as I live. I have a bad feeling it's cooked shrimp.
Well, what's wrong with cooked shrimp?
Looks like all these cats at the marina caught a whiff of it too.
I told you the cats would show up.
Well, I don't see cats! Well, at least we definitely solved the mystery of what happened to Ulysses.
But what could have been causing that smell out in the ocean? Maybe the volcanic activity is actually heating up the water out there off the coast, and maybe it's actually cooking the shrimp alive out there.
That's what I'm thinking, and I like cooked shrimp.
I love shrimp. My boss is actually allergic to shrimp, but he's one of those incorrigible people that basically loves shrimp so much that he will continue to eat it at a party until he gets to the point where he knows that if he has one more, he could die.
Your boss is nuts.
Yep.
Yeah, and of course, thankfully, of course, if he met my sister, she would go all out of her way to make sure there wasn't a single shrimp in the house.
Man, is your sister afraid of lawsuits or something?
No, she's just afraid of making people sick and in the hospital.
Ah.
That shows how courteous she is as a host. Oh, this is... Okay. So yeah. In fact, she's already been asking me to check with Chaos, to check with Chaos's mom for when he does come over to our place, when he's coming out, because she's planning on doing a full-on scrub of the kitchen and getting rid of the peanut butter until he leaves.
Wow. I didn't think that Chaos was allergic to peanuts.
He is. That's why he can't go to Five Guys. They use peanut oil.
You know, it's weird. Basically, at Wendy's, they claim that we don't use peanut oil in our fryers, and yet every single time I pass by the fry station, I get this undeniable scent of peanut butter. Like, anybody else smell peanuts? They say that...
And well, at least he won't have any problems with that with A&W. They use canola oil.
Yeah, that's what we claim to use as well. But yeah, if I could just say like a few last things about the Meg, is that it's definitely an exciting book series, and I definitely find it entertaining. It definitely is a bit intelligent, but it's not nearly as intelligent as Jurassic Park, because the whole idea of the Meg in Jurassic Park is similar, because it's the whole kind of the basic story of, oh, there's a beast on the loose. But I gotta admit that I don't think that the Meg actually has said as anything as profound as what can be found in Jurassic Park, because I mean, Crichton, he was just ahead of his game when it came to writing his books, because it's not just basically his books are just these entertaining things with really exciting scenarios, but the guy genuinely had so many important things to say, and the problems is that nobody really took him seriously back then. Now he's dead, and here we are friggin' 30 years later, and most of the things that he tried to warn us about in the books are actually coming to fruition.
Yep.
I mean...
They called him crazy, but he proved not to be that crazy.
Yep. Especially because all he was basically really trying to warn people about is to not take anyone at their word. Not take anything for granted. Don't take anything at face value. Be skeptical. Ask questions. If things are working out perfectly for one person, consider that person's motives and who they are as a person, and then do a little investigation as to what this person is actually all about. And then you might find some answers as to what it is that they're trying to promote and why that could possibly be not so kosher. I mean,
well, that's the most appropriate fire exit sign I've ever seen. Just jump in the water.
I should think so. It reminds me of that scene from The Mummy, the one starring Brendan Fraser from 1999. The boat that they're taking down the Nile gets set on fire by the Magi assassins, and after Rick has basically just fought his way off to the edge of the boat, the warden basically comes up. He's like, O'Connell, what are we going to do? What are we going to do? Wait here, I'll go get help. And then Rick jumps off the side of the boat, leaving the warden behind, and the warden's like, right. And then he just stands there for a moment before realizing, I should jump too.
Yep.
Wait here, I'll go get help. I'll go get help. I need to watch that movie again. It is just so funny. And the best part about it is people are starting to realize that it's memeable.
Anything that stars Brendan Fraser can be memeable.
Yeah. Surprised I haven't seen many George of the Jungle memes.
Yeah, that's a classic film. I especially love the elephant poop scene.
Bad guy falls in poop. fantastical element of physical comedy. Now's the time that we throw our heads back and laugh. Ready? Ready?
Oh, the meta humor in that film. Good gracious.
Yep. But man, those Swahilian porters, they are just so funny throughout the movie.
Oh, yeah.
Yep. Like earlier in the movie when they basically like are just they're searching for Ursula in the jungle. One of them basically looks at the others like, next time we pass by a cliff, let's throw them off the edge.
Yep.
I gotta admit, that movie actually is filled with a lot of really dark humor, despite the fact that it's a kid's film. But then they completely lampshade the fact that nobody dies in this story. They just get really big boo-boos. The guy falls off a bridge into a ravine, and he somehow survives that with just a few scrapes.
Yep.
They just get really big boo-boos. Okay,
and even
kids,
the narrator confirms it.
Yeah, pretty much. Alright, kids, let's settle down and review the story. Lyle is a big doofus. Poor George was really shot but can't die, because let's face it, he's the hero.
Yeah. Mostly associate him with the Mummy movies and Doom Patrol. Haha.
Mostly, yep. Doom Patrol. I don't think I ever saw that. Let's see.
Yeah, and oh yeah, he was also in that Looney Tunes movie, Back in Action.
Yep, that's mostly what I also associate him for. I just love that the fact that they do a really meta joke, because Brendan Fraser, in the movie, he plays DJ, who is the son of a famous actor. He works as a security guard, but he wants to be a stunt guy. A stunt man for action movies, and he actually has done a few roles. So he's talking to Daffy Duck. He's like, "You ever seen those Mummy movies? I'm in them more than Brendan Fraser is." And then Daffy kind of looks off screen for a moment like he's thinking, "Is that right?" I'm in them more than Brendan Fraser is.
Did my comment count just jump to 14 for a second there, or was it just me? Because I don't see 14 comments. I only see a few from Gat. I think there's a glitch. We're seeing clips. It's a real weird show, but in a good way.
Let's see.
Ah, there we go.
Oh, this is actually fairly recent. No wonder I never heard of it. Hey, it also has Timothy Dalton. He played Damian Drake, who was also DJ's father from Looney Tunes Back in Actions. That's funny.
That tells you they get along well as actors.
I should hope so. Dad, I think we should move. What's wrong with Beverly Hills? No, I think we shouldn't be standing here right now.
Alright, and that's when the rocket comes in.
Yeah, they crash into the window.
Ah. And of course the amusing thing I saw was like the whole window thing with the Mona Lisa at the Louvre.
Yeah. Ah, it is a window.
And then as they were like looking at it,
It x-rayed through her clothing. Oh, sorry. Oh, that's a map of Africa. I wonder if that's where the diamond is.
such a...
Yep.
Such a good movie. Don't
Kind
make
of a-
quality movies like those now these days.
Yep, because it's kind of an underrated one. I mean, basically, like, it's really nothing all that special, but at least it has, like, some classic Looney Tunes gags.
And
well,
they made a light reference to frickin' Space Jam, the first film
Yeah.
that they made that had real life mixed in with the Looney Tunes mixed in with real life, starring Michael freaking Jordan.
Yep. Let's do some drills. This doesn't make a lick of sense.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember watching that film back when I was a kid. It was good.
Yep.
Especially since, of course, they weren't too keen about getting his old college basketball shorts, even though he says he cleans them.
Yeah. I
And
mean,
knowing Michael, he probably does. The only thing that they had to worry about after that was bulldog slobber.
definitely. That scene with the dog is always so great. Oh, what's even better is the fact that, like, as they're sneaking around Michael's house, they accidentally go into one of his daughter's rooms, and Daffy basically makes a comment about how she basically has a whole bunch of Looney Tunes merchandise. You think she's got enough toys? Yeah, speaking of toys, you know all those mugs and T-shirts and lunchboxes with our pictures on them? Yeah? You ever see any money from all that stuff? Not a cent. Me neither. They're basically making a joke about how the company is basically like monetizing their images, but they're not getting royalties on it. God, I love meta humor like that. The idea that the characters are actual like performers that really exist. That's funny. You ever see any money from all that stuff?
Yeah, when meta humor's done good, it's done real good.
I'm telling you, we need new agents. We're getting screwed.
Yep. What was your favorite scene of Space Jam, by the way?
What?
Now that we're talking about Space Jam, what was your favorite scene from that movie?
Oh man, there are just so many to count.
I
mean,
opened up that can of worms.
You know, this is gonna sound weird. I could honestly go for like so many funny scenes from Space Jam, but I honestly think that one of my favorite scenes is the opening of the movie, because you go into Space Jam, you're expecting something loud, bombastic, cartoonish, and way over the top, and yet the way the movie opens, it's actually so quiet and subtle. It's actually almost kind of beautiful, because we open on a starry sky with a CGI moon that is just ridiculously oversized, and we also hear like this beautiful woodwind flute playing, and then we see a basketball goal come into frame, and we see a young Michael Jordan playing basketball by himself at night, just basically kind of practicing as R. Kelly's I Believe I Can Fly plays. This scene to me really kind of is like just a beautiful moment, because it kind of encapsulates that this isn't just a Looney Tunes movie, it's a movie about Michael Jordan in a lot of ways, showing basically where he began. And I think that it's nice because the way that this scene flows is that it follows into this really nice moment with Michael Jordan and his father. Basically, the man realizes that Michael is up past his bedtime. It's after midnight. He's playing basketball. He's like, Michael, what are you doing, son? You gotta go to bed. And, like, they have this nice little heart-to-heart moment, and it's touching because I'm pretty sure Michael Jordan requested that this be a part of the movie, because around the time this movie was made, his actual father in real life had recently passed. So,
Aww. So this is
knowing,
his way of like honoring his father.
Yeah, it's
Oh,
like one of the...
oh God, oh God.
You're crying now, aren't you?
I'm starting to. I'm getting the misty eye. I'm getting the. Mm.
And I just think that it's like really touching in a lot of ways, because it's like you get to have one last moment with your dad, and it's like it's really nice, and it shows just how important that relationship was with him. Because even though his dad's saying it's time to go to bed, he's like, he basically realizes that Michael has a real talent for shooting free throws, so he like keeps shooting until you miss. And it's like they have this talk about all the things that Michael wants to do when he grows up, and someday he wants to play baseball just like his old man did. And that's kind of where the conflict of Michael's story in the movie comes from, the fact that he leaves basketball to play baseball when he's not really all that good at it, but he does it because he wants to honor his dad's memory. And I think that the combination of the music, the direction, the framing, the scene, and the acting, it really makes for something special, you know? And I really think that Space Jam really does have an emotional heart at the center of it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And not to mention the fact that as the scene ends, when Michael Jordan takes one last shot, we see young Michael. He's running up to probably do his very first Air Jordan, where he jumps, he slam dunks the ball into the hoop, making history. We suddenly get like actual footage of him as an adult playing games, and then we get the Space Jam title sequence set to Welcome to the Jam. That is that is an epic way to start off the movie. That's what people were expecting from this movie, and it totally delivered. It might have been like a bit of a drastic tonal shift, but I think that for what it is, it just really, really works.
Oh yeah, especially as you did point out, his father passed away during filming.
Yeah, and it really was. It really is like sad, but it is kind of like fitting to see that little boy, that where he started out with just practicing hoops in his backyard with his parents, and then he basically went on to become probably one of the greatest athletes of all time. So
yeah. In fact, I don't recall hearing anything too bad from him.
I know, right? He basically has remained fairly clean and fairly down to earth. I mean, and he basically has the right mindset when it comes to how you should market your brand. Don't play to either side, just play neutrally. And that way you can get both. Republicans buy shoes too, you know.
Mm-hmm.
The ironic thing is that actually around the time of Space Jam being made, there actually was, I think, some rumors that were circulating that I think were trying to start up controversy with Michael Jordan. But the thing about it is that I don't really know if anything has actually come from them. I certainly don't think that they've negatively impacted his career. The idea behind it is that there were accusations that Michael had a bit of a gambling problem, and...
Gambling? Seriously?
Yeah. And what's even more shocking is that a lot of people came up with this conspiracy theory that his father didn't die of natural causes, but that someone who Michael owed a lot of money to actually actually hurt his father, and in order to send Michael a message. And it's like, I'm just thinking, dude, this guy had lost his father. That's a relationship that he's had for literally his entire life, and now it's over permanently. There's not going to be any sort of second, coming back from this. His father is literally gone, and you're trying to basically make it into some kind of tabloid headliner. Just...
Something tells me when Michael found out about that, he wasn't too happy.
Yep, I don't think he was too happy. In fact, I think that Michael has a pretty good attitude when it comes to how professional he is. A lot of people say that he wasn't necessarily happy about having to be in a Looney Tunes movie to begin with. And I admit, Michael Jordan doesn't really have the best acting props, but I honestly think that he does an okay job for what he is. He actually feels like a person who is out of his depth when it comes to doing what he's doing, which is being in a movie surrounded by cartoon characters. But when he actually gets his hands on a basketball, that is where you know what he's doing and how he basically like can perform like that. So it sort of works, I think, for the meta narrative of the story. Michael is out of his depth, except when it comes to basketball. That's where he shines. So. But anyways, the point of what I was getting at is that people were making the accusations that he basically agreed to do the Looney Tunes movie in order to basically like get good PR to combat these gambling rumors and whatnot. But I don't know, maybe it worked. Is there any way you can go inside the cabin?
Nope.
Darn it, I was hoping that this was a situation where you could open the door.
I know. If there was, I would have had a prompt at the bottom of my screen.
Ah. Door's locked. Move on to the next one.
But yeah, my favorite moment, my favorite scene of the film is like that big climax with when his arms stretched out during the Air Jordan jump thing.
Yeah. And that's actually, I'm glad that you sort of brought that up, because I think that that's ultimately like, let's see, how do I basically put this? I actually had a theory a while ago that a lot of people say that Michael Jordan in this movie, he doesn't really have a character arc, and that's what makes his character boring. I say that you can actually see he has a little bit of a character arc in that he sort of basically has to learn a sort of lesson about who he is, because it was very nice that Michael wanted to pay tribute to his father, because he actually did what he did in this movie in real life. He actually did retire from playing basketball for a while because he wanted to try his hand at playing professional baseball in order to basically kind of like sort of stay close with his father after his passing. But that ultimately didn't work out for him, so I think this movie, in a lot of ways, was also Michael's attempt at working through the issues of coming to terms with that failure in a lot of ways. It's not necessarily a bad failure, but it's just a reality that Michael had to face. So,
Just a little bump in the road, that is life.
Yeah, basically. So, the idea behind it is that Michael, in the real world, he comes from a world that's basically sort of bound by these rules, where you basically know that you have to basically, like, behave a certain way, that you have to basically are restricted by a whole lot of realities, and that you can't necessarily always get away with what it is that you ultimately want to do. But the most important thing about it is staying true to yourself in order to basically like come out the other side, because if you let this world basically get the best of you in a lot of ways, it's going to basically just completely destroy you in a sense. So in the end, when Michael is in the Looney Tunes world and he realizes that human beings can actually do what the Looney Tunes can here, because they're... Hey, welcome back. We're talking about Space Jam.
I know. I chose a weird time to come in. It was like already like the whole, he figured out the whole world gonna break him down, and they figured out he could do the same things as Bugs Bunny.
So, I think that's at that point when realizing that Michael himself has the ability to break the rules, so he's basically lived this rigid world of reality restricted by these rules, and yet he has such willpower here in the Looney Tunes world that he can break the rules, because everything is literally riding on him making that shot. Here we have a situation where Michael Jordan, he's brought in to help the Looney Tunes, but he has absolutely no stakes in this story until a certain point. Like, in the last quarter of the game... What's funny?
Sorry, Cat! He says, we were talking about Space Jam, and he had nothing to say. Help!
Maybe we should basically get together in the lair and basically like go watch the movie together. That way he might actually have something to comment.
Oh yeah.
So anyways,
we'll get to say something about Looney Tunes.
Yeah, like come up with any kind of joke. I'm pretty sure that it's somewhere in the movie.
Like bring up that the Elmer Fudd has a actual doctorate.
Yeah.
Yeah. What's up, Doc?
Or how about the fact that Fudd is actually a millionaire? I'm not kidding. He's actually incredibly wealthy, and he's the head of like this huge corporation.
Oh yeah, Gat says he's seen the movie. He's just indifferent to it.
You're
Okay.
indifferent to it? That's awful.
It's not awful. Everyone has their taste.
I know.
We enjoyed the movie. He finds it kind of meh, and that's fine. Everyone has their own taste in films, and their own
The point
opinions.
is, what I was basically saying is that when when Scratchhammer basically confronts Michael, and they basically up the stakes of the game to make a deal so that Michael can get the NBA players their talent back, which the Monstars stole, he puts his own life on the line and basically kind of throws in his lot with the Looney Tunes. It basically kind of shows the kind of guy that Michael is willing to be. He's willing to be the kind of guy who's ready to make that sacrifice, even though he's basically like even though he and his team are basically only now just are basically like eking out a win here. They're still behind in points, and yet they're slowly crawling their way up, and yet Michael has such faith in the Looney Tunes that he's willing to basically throw himself into the proverbial fire in order to make sure that they win. So, but more than that, it's also the fact that they basically tried to play fair the first half of the game, and the Monstars completely curb stomped them. It's only afterwards, in the second half, when they start using their own Looney Tunes antics in order to basically get the edge on the Monstars. So they're technically breaking the rules by doing all this, and I think that ultimately culminates in the fact that Michael himself has to literally break the rules in order to get that final shot. So that, in a lot of ways, is kind of like the character arc. It's that don't let the rules basically hold you back. Be true to yourself. Know your strengths and weaknesses. And stop trying to be something that you're not. You know what I'm saying?
And cheat at every possible opportunity. They can't stop you if you win, after all.
I mean, the Monstars were cheating. I mean, I have no idea what Marvin the Martian was doing, but he certainly was not calling out any fouls on them.
Nope.
In fact, a lot of people basically say that that's why he was the referee, because he's a Looney Tune, but he's also an alien, so he's technically a neutral party between the two of them.
Makes sense.
He has to throw in I am a Martian, and thus I am not technically from this planet clause at the Monstars arrangement.
I'm a Martian! It just reminds me of like my all-time favorite Marvin the Martian line: begging for mercy makes me angry. Begging for mercy makes me angry.
Ooh, there's a pretty pelican on the side of the cabin roof.
Well, the ship is called the Pelican, so...
That's so sweet.
Nah, being faithful.
Now, let's see.
Man, with this one, you don't even need to bring your own scaffolding.
Yeah, nope.
So, Chaos, you have a favorite scene from Space Jam?
There we go.
Let's see.
Ooh, the anchor.
I think one that I find funny in a subversive way is that when Lola kisses Bugs and she goes a little bit crazy about it, just because it's a nice little subversion given to everything else that her character did.
You mean at the end of the movie when he kisses her?
Yeah, that's what I meant to say.
Oh, yeah. It's like one of those things where she's basically the girl, she's the girl power boss of the movie, but it's clear that there is a mutual attraction between the two of them. It's just Lola sort of has to get out of her own way.
Yeah.
Yeah, was Lola ever brought into anything before that?
Nope, it was her first official appearance, and since then she has become a staple of the Looney Tunes roster.
Okay.
Which is kind of interesting because Bugs actually has had several love interests across the entire franchise, but they've always just been sort of one-off characters. Lola was basically the attempt to establish an actual female counterpart for Bugs on a more permanent basis. And then before you know it, she was showing up at Six Flags.
Yep.
I think that one scene that basically is just really funny, that just encapsulates Looney Tunes humor, is when the aliens basically first arrive in the Looney Tunes world, and they're basically asking around for Bugs Bunny, and they ask Bugs himself if he has seen him. And then Bugs basically lists off all of the physical characteristics and personality traits of Bugs Bunny, giving demonstrations to them. Does he have great big long ears like these? Does he say, "What's up, Doc?" like this? And then at the end of it, as they get more and more excited, he just walks away. He's like, "Nope, never heard of him." But it's also kind of funny because that's also a subversion of, like, that whole trope. Because basically, like, in the old days, Bugs would ultimately get away with a gag like that until the aliens basically reveal that they're not that dumb. And they basically are packing a serious amount of firepower. They literally disintegrate the entire forest around Bugs just to stop him from leaving. And I think that's the moment where Bugs realizes that, yep, I can't really pull the regular shtick with these guys.
Whoopsies.
Wow. Talk about top crowd. Isn't that right, past Bugs?
Yeah.
Huh. Did I miss a part on the starboard hull?
Apparently. Apparently there's some spotlights that are not fully cleaned yet.
Yeah.
Damn you, spotlights! I assume these are the ones.
Alright, troops, it is for us to choose a battlefield that affords us... I got it. Yes, Private Porkster. Porkster. I love that line. Why don't we challenge them to a spelling bee? We could have a bowling tournament.
Yeah, there's the problem. It was the underneath of the trim.
Well, I'm glad that we finally got to the bottom of it.
Let's see, what else can I think about?
I think that a great scene that I don't think anybody talks about is when Michael Jordan is actually at his house and he and his kids are watching TV. They're watching the news report of him basically being terrible at baseball, so he switches over to the Looney Tunes. It's like one of the classic Roadrunner Coyote cartoons. Out of nowhere, Porky Pig shows up and literally just interrupts the cartoon, just stops it right there, saying, "We've got an emergency meeting to go to." And so the Roadrunner and Porky, they basically run off, and the Coyote goes to try and join them, but slapstick and shit ensues.
Yeah, it's not Looney Tunes without the slapstick.
I like the fact that, like, the movie basically establishes that, like, in this universe, these beings are literally just, like, going through the motions. They're basically like, every single cartoon is almost like a live stage play that they are putting on to entertain the people in the real world, and if they literally abandon it like they did, the cartoon just basically hangs in space. Because the kids are literally watching the same frame that is completely empty, and it's like, dang, where'd they go? Also, I gotta admit, Michael's kids aren't really all that nonplussed about seeing cartoon characters sneaking around their house.
Oh. Watching recreational vehicle again, please. Harper!
The RV?
I do think it's pretty interesting because she first appeared in Space Jam, a cameo, in the Tweety movie, referenced by... God damn it.
And Lunatics Unleashed as Lexi.
Yep.
And now the fishing boat is done.
Let's see.
She looks so good, I don't know if I can bring myself to put her back in the water. Although, how else am I going to ever find the source of that incredible aroma? And then became a character in the Looney Tunes show as Bugs Ditsy's psycho girlfriend. So they screwed her character. Oh my gosh.
I know, right? I mean, don't get me wrong, there's some entertaining things about Lola's update in the Looney Tunes show, but there are times where she can just be a little too much. Like, she is, like, way too overbearing.
Well, unfortunately, it is... Oh, no, she's good in that one. Oh, okay.
She's good in that one? Are you sure, Get?
Well, anyways,
sorry, I just want to say, like, hey, at least it's a lot better than depictions of Harley Quinn has been.
Yeah, I'll give you that.
Yeah, so so Harper says, hello there, my transfers during this make me so sad. Please clean up so I can smile once more. That's unusually short.
Yeah.
And a $600 job? I don't recall the RV being a $600 job before.
How much was it last time?
Let me check.
I just love how there's, like, again is in parentheses. It's like, yeah, we know that it's basically like the same job. It's like, it's almost like they're stalling.
Yeah, the RV was a $400 job before.
Maybe he tripped out.
Clearly the RV got an upgrade.
Yeah. What I'm trying to say is that someone at Warner Bros. Was really fighting for her. Oh, okay.
Maybe she was their OC.
Yeah. Anyways, by the looks of things, that is definitely going to be one of the last few jobs we're going to do of the main career before we go to the bonus jobs, and then of course wait until the Mucky Hand Files drop. I'd like to thank Chaos for joining me in on this wonderful run.
Yep. I apologize for being gone for so long.
Yeah, no worries. The dog was being stubborn. I'd like to thank Link for keeping us updated on a lot of pop culture news and to share some good perspectives on Space Jam and whatnot.
Always a pleasure.
I'd like to thank you guys for watching. If any new viewers liked what you see, you can just subscribe and whatnot. And remember, the real magic you have is your imagination.
There's a Looney Tunes shenanigans of Michael Jordan.
Yeah.
Just remember, people, whenever you're living your life, just live it by 3 philosophies. 1, stay true to who you are. 2, play to your strengths. And 3, remember, most importantly of all, come on and slam, and welcome to the jam. Come on and slam. Yep, you want to jam. Everybody get up, it's time to slam now.
Yeah,
We got a
all,
real
folks.
jam going down. Welcome to the Space Jam. It's your chance to your dance at the Space Jam.
Bye, everyone.